Oh man, farming is hard. What's this? Thanks, buddy. What's up, Noobert fans? Today I've got another great Project Zomboid video for you. In this video, I'll be covering the topic of top 10 ways to farm in Project Zomboid. Farming is really important in this game as a way to sustain your character. No matter how good you are at scavenging, all the lootable food on the map will eventually be exhausted. Plus, power failure will lead to a large amount of that food rotting and becoming inedible anyway. You won't be able to survive without finding sustainable sources of food, which is where farming comes in. Ready to learn more about farming? Before we begin, don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to my channel for more information content. Let's go! Hey, this is Noobert from the future. I was busy replying to your amazing comments when YouTube started doing its usual deathlag, which is the perfect segue into today's sponsor. Opera GX is a gaming web browser that lets you control how much RAM it uses, which means you can game and watch Noobert videos at the same time. This thing is pure gold. It shows you what games you can get for free right now, and it keeps you updated on the release dates for those future games. But that's not all. I can also listen to music with this doohickey right here. It also integrates with Twitch, so you can watch me stream while you search for more mods. It even integrates with Discord, so you can live chat with all your friends while Noobert sits in VC by himself. It even has these super-powered customization options that work with Razer Chroma. Choose from a bunch of different themes to cut through the darkness and brighten your day, or the dark room you're in right now. And if that wasn't all that made this thing amazing, they have a mobile app. Opera GX Mobile brings all the amazing wonders of the desktop version to your fingertips. You can even link the browser with your desktop to sync everything up and keep that oh so smooth experience while you go about your day. Link in the description. My first suggestion for ways to farm well in Zomboid is to get your hands dirty. I don't mean in real life. You probably shouldn't right now with the virus going around. What I'm talking about is being hands-on with farming. While plants can grow with a minimum of effort in Project Zomboid, it's always better to devote time and attention to them if possible. Trust me, it's worth it. This includes properly watering them and checking for diseases, which are aspects I'll explain in the other points. By putting in effort to pamper your plants, you'll ensure they produce better yields and higher quality harvest. This means you won't have to do as much scavenging or planting and saves you a fair bit of hassle in the long run. Another good way to farm is by placing your farm in a secure location. This is usually done either by building walls or planting above ground. Why build walls though? It's not like zombies are gonna eat your plants, unlike in other games. They may prefer brains instead of grains, but rampaging zombies can still do lots of damage to your plants. As they charge towards you, they'll trample any crops in the way, which damages or kills those crops. You need to build a wall and make the zombies pay for it. You all know why I'm here today. All right, settle down. Now let's talk about my campaign. Those zombies out there, they're rampaging and stealing our resources, killing people. So that's why I've got a great big plan, I'm gonna build a wall around my crops and make the zombies pay for it. You've got to plant in a place where zombies can't reach your plants while still allowing sunlight in. No hiding your plants indoors, that won't work. Alternatively, you can also plant a farm on the roof on 2-story buildings if you decide to make one your base. Bear in mind that zombies can use stairs, meaning you'll have to destroy the stairs if you want to pull this method off. Make sure to have an alternate entry and exit route for your house. Sometimes choosing the right way to go about farming means preparing beforehand. In particular, you may want to plan ahead before the game even begins. Choosing the right occupation and traits can rapidly increase the rate of leveling your farm skill, which makes farming much easier as well as more efficient. Notably, there's only one occupation that helps with farming: farmer. It provides 3 farming skill levels at the start for a quick boost, while also giving increased EXP for farming. Pretty useful if you're planning on doing a lot of farming. Once an occupation has been selected, the associated bonus is locked and it can't be gained any other way. Choose wisely, kind of like real life actually. Separating your crops is also a good idea that makes the list when it comes to farming. There are quite a few annoying diseases that can hamper plant yield and growth after all, so it's good practice to try and avoid them. I won't go into detail on the types of plant diseases, but what you need to know is that diseases can jump from plant to plant in close proximity. Strawberries are particularly susceptible to disease. The best solution is keeping diseases to a minimum is to treat all infestations as soon as they appear. Don't let a plant disease progress, or you might lose an entire batch of crops and you have no supplies to weather the apocalypse. You don't want to get forced to go out there scavenging when the scary zombies are, right? No, you don't want to. Whoa. Scavenging in winter is scary. Anyway, let's take a quick break. If you like the video so far, don't forget to drop a like and hit that subscribe button. It's a win-win scenario. You get to be updated on more cool content and I get more subscribers. Fair? Right? It's fair. If you're planting strawberries, you should also try to grow them in totally separate area from your other plants. Like I mentioned earlier, building walls with a door, of course, to separate them might be a good idea. Or just don't grow strawberries at all. It's your choice. Actually, it's a good idea to space out all your crops, not just strawberries. I'd recommend about 2 spaces between each row. You can make the gap wider, but might be a big waste of space. Aside from spacing your crops out properly, it's also important to select the right crops. Different crops have various advantages and disadvantages like growth speed, shelf life, and disease susceptibility. In a zombie apocalypse, you've got to be adaptable. For example, if you're running low on food and need vegetables grown quickly, plant some cabbage. It only takes 14 days from planting to harvest, with the downside of having the shorted shelf life of 4 days. Or maybe you're planning to store food for a long time. You can plant potatoes, which take a long time to grow, 26 days in fact, but last nearly a month. There are other options too. Go experiment and figure them out on your own. Since that's the case, diversifying your crops and planting more than one type at a time is vital. You can't always anticipate every eventuality. After all, maybe an emergency will crop up that requires a specific crop type to overcome. Since growing and harvesting takes a while, by the time you scramble to do so, the situation has already worsened. It's best to prepare beforehand. Really, try to have at least 3 or 4 crop types on standby at all times, with special focus given to shelf life, disease resistance, and harvesting speed. A typical basic farm can consist of 4 separate rows with 4 to 6 plants of one type per row, and a different crop for each. This provides enough room for plants to grow while also ensuring diversity and sufficient yield. It's not set in stone, of course. You gotta try things out and see what works best for your situation. Again, if you fail, it's no big deal. Just keep trying and learning and failing. Having said that, to farm well, you may not want to plant too many crops either. Why though? Isn't having a surplus for your stockpile a good thing? Well, not exactly. The more crops you have, the higher chance one or more will be infected by a disease. As I stated in the section on disease, it spreads pretty easily, so you're just wasting all those seeds on diseased crops. You could space them out sufficiently. By planting a huge amount of crop means you'll need loads of space. 2, you'll need that space for other stuff in your base, so don't bother with overplanting. Oops. Even if you get past these hurdles, remember that crops have a shelf life. Plant too many and you'll not be able to clear up the stockpile, with a lot of them expiring in storage. It's a total waste. Best to plant just slightly more than you need to avoid these pitfalls. Hey there. Time for another break, I guess. Might as well give you a quick reminder. If you got any feedback or comments on this video, don't be shy to drop them below. You can ask me questions too, or just hang around and chat. Anything, really. Just remember. Now back to the last few points. Point number 8 is don't rely on farming. Don't let farming be your only thing. Wait, what? Sounds counterintuitive to all the advice given so far? Yeah, that's kind of right. Don't worry though, I'll explain in a bit, just stick around. In Project Zomboid, aside from scavenging, there are 4 ways of gathering food: farming, foraging, fishing, and trapping. They each produce different yields with different benefits. While you can stick with just farming, which requires the most effort for the best yield, utilizing and combining all 4 methods wherever possible is the ideal. By combining the raw ingredients from these methods, fish, plants, trapped animals, meat, etc., you can produce meals that provide significant positive modifiers to mood, hunger, and thirst. I mean, sure, in a pinch, just eating vegetables will do, but you'll need those high-level meals along with a lot of looting to survive later in the game. In particular, winter will be a significant challenge to survive without diversifying your food production and adopting multiple methods. If you're not prepared, you might just starve or die of thirst. Remember what I said about crop variety? One of the top ways to farm is related to that: consistent crop rotation. Aside from picking a few plants to grow and sticking with them, you can and should rotate crop varieties consistently. This helps to further shore up your stockpile options in case of emergencies. Of course, crop rotation works best with stuff that grows quickly. Slow-growing plants like potatoes aren't the best for this strategy, though you can still try with some difficulty. My suggestion for a rotating schedule would be planting every 4 days, which gives you a constant stream of fresh food. Of course, only do this if you're certain the food won't go to waste. My last method on this list of 10 ways to farm in Project Zomboid is use the rain and fertilizer. I mentioned watering plants way back in point 1, right? Now let's talk a little about that. Plants need water to grow. Well, naturally, you can water them manually via a watering can or bottle, or wait for it to rain. Rain really comes in handy since you won't need a water source for it, and you can let it fall automatically instead of having to allocate watering time. Of course, you can't predict exactly when it's gonna happen, so I suggest having some barrels near the plants to collect rainwater whenever it rains. Aside from rain, you'll also need to keep in mind fertilizer. Fertilizing your your crops will help them grow more quickly if you're pressed for time, especially in emergencies where food is getting low. Fertilizer will save your ass. To be more specific, fertilizer cuts 20 hours per use from the current growth cycle of the plant. If there are less than 20 hours remaining on that growth cycle, it will immediately proceed to the next growth level and the extra hours will be lost. However, having said that, don't blindly throw fertilizer at every plant you have. It's a resource that's hard to come by when scavenging, and large farms will need a lot of it to cover everything. You can make your own with level 5 carpentry, rotten food, and a composter, but try to conserve it early on. Excessive fertilizer usage can also kill a plant, so use it sparingly. And that's it for the top 10 ways to farm well in Project Zomboid. I hope this video has been helpful and that it encourages you to experiment on stuff yourself. Like I said, don't be afraid to fail. I mean, what's at stake? It's a game. Project Zomboid is built around learning from failure anyway. If you liked the video, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you guys soon.